Now on Sunrise and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, days after a suspected case of the measles appeared near the crossroads, those testing results are released. The details are just ahead. And more information about a fatal stabbing at a track meet near Dallas. Plus, the TikTok ban looms once again. We'll tell you how much longer they have to sell before facing a ban.
And surely y'all can agree with me when I say it was a warm and humid week this week. But if you're not a fan of that, we're about to go from hot to chilly with a system coming off the mountains, bringing us a front. Literally, we're going from heat indices to wind chills. All of that in the weather coming up.
And Edna hires a new head coach and AD yesterday in Blanco's Jamie Dixon. We'll find out more information later in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning, Crossroads, and happy Friday, Parker's favorite day of the week.
Most people's favorite day of the week. It's weekend time. Get excited.
And it's National Walk to Work Day.
It is.
Are we going to have the prime conditions for walking to work?
Well, in the morning time, like right now, it's a little bit humid out there, and it is actually very nice in terms of temperatures, maybe like a slightly tad bit warm. We're starting out the day in Victoria at 76 degrees if you're tuning in with us. Dew point is 73. That is very whoppingly high. That's why it's so humid out there with humidity value at 91%. But technically, that is enough to see like a very light layer of fog. That's why this computer thinks there is some out there at 7-mile visibility. But we have our breezy wind still blowing through right now, sustained at 17 miles an hour out of the Gulf right now. And actually, we have wind advisories in effect for all of these counties right here that are colored in tan for all the way up until tomorrow morning before the front gets here. So make sure y'all be careful with that. We'll look at all that here later on Sunrise, because right now, this morning, winds are being recorded up to 25 to 30 miles an hour, which is providing us with no fog. But it is enough for me to say just be careful if you're traveling, because that can toss your car back and forth. But why is it going to be so windy today? And why is it going to be warm just like it was all week long? And where is the cold front coming from? That's what everybody wants to know. It's coming from this big system over the southern Rockies, and that's actually starting to slowly move eastward, coming off the Rockies as we go into tomorrow, which will finally send us to the front. All that, of course, later on Sunrise, because if your senior kid is out the door this morning, it's going to be just like it is, like I said, right now. Warm, humid, and breezy. And if you like that, it's going to be just like that in the afternoon as well. Warm, humid, and breezy. And we'll look at all those details coming up next.
A suspected case of the measles in El Campo has been ruled out. El Campo Memorial Hospital says additional testing on what was originally thought to be a positive case earlier this week has now come back negative. The samples were sent to a state-approved lab for confirmation, and the results confirmed it's not measles. On Tuesday, the hospital reported a possible case in an adult showing measles-like symptoms, but it turns out it's not measles after all. The Bloomington community held the first of several weekly town halls ahead of Election Day. Voters listened to the latest updates on the incorporation item up for a vote and asked questions. Mayoral and city candidates were there, and they'll continue to be at these meetings. They take place every Thursday this month at 7 p.m. at the Bloomington VFW Hall.
Every resident here deserves the chance to have their voice heard and help make decisions for the community. We want to be able to decide what happens in this community and be able to pick the leaders in this community.
Walker urges everyone in Bloomington to vote in the upcoming election, saying it's important to keep outside investors from taking over. Election Day is May 3rd. Disasters are part of life, but a conference held in Victoria Thursday prepared the community for the inevitable. The 2025 Mid-Coast Hurricane and Disaster Conference featured emergency management officials, meteorologists, first responders, and community members inside the Victoria Community Center. They talked about past events and what was learned from them so they will be better prepared next time.
Of course, our initiative is to help our community become more resilient and more prepared, and that's exactly what we intended to do, and I think we were pretty good at executing that today.
Some of the topics highlighted by speakers included lessons learned from Sutherland Springs, Uvalde, as well as hurricane dynamics and preparation. Hurricane season starts June 1st. Now to a stabbing at a track meet near Dallas, where a father says he forgives the teen accused of fatally stabbing his son. Police are now revealing what led to the terrifying moment.
New details about the killing of Austin Metcalf, the student stabbed at a high school track meet near Dallas. According to the arrest affidavit, 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony has confessed to the killing, saying he was trying to protect himself.
He knew how much I loved him, how much I do for him, anything. I do anything for him.
Hunter Metcalf says he held his twin brother Austin as he was dying.
I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then I look at my brother, and then I'm not going to talk about the rest. So.
It happened at the district championship meet in Frisco. Hunter says his brother had asked Carmelo to move his seat because he was sitting under the wrong tent. A witness says Carmelo replied, "Touch me and see what happens." And when Austin grabbed him, Carmelo allegedly pulled a knife.
They asked him to move, and when Austin grabbed his backpack to take it, he stabbed him in the chest and killed him.
He's now charged with first-degree murder.
Just because the kid was mad, my son is not here anymore, and I don't understand it.
Austin is being remembered as an honors student with aspirations to play college football. Despite the shocking loss, Austin's father says he chooses forgiveness over anger.
I forgive the other person because the forgiveness is not for him. The forgiveness is for me, so I can have peace. His life is destroyed. My life is destroyed.
The arrest affidavit says as Carmelo Anthony was being arrested, he asked if Austin was okay. Anthony is being held on $1 million bond. Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
The clock is ticking for TikTok. A bipartisan law is set to ban it over national security concerns unless its Chinese parent company ByteDance sells it by tomorrow. The White House says it's working on a deal to keep TikTok in U.S. app stores. Under the U.S. law, ByteDance must sell at least 80% ownership to a non-Chinese company. China seems reluctant to allow that, but President Donald Trump is floating the idea of using tariffs as leverage. A federal judge says there is a fair likelihood the Trump administration violated a court order temporarily blocking the deportation of suspected Venezuelan gang members under a rarely invoked 18th century law. During a hearing in Washington, D.C. on Thursday, U.S. District Judge James Boasberg made the comment to help him determine whether the government violated the ban on such deportations he imposed on March 15th by failing to return 2 flights that were in the air at the time he issued the ruling. The judge ended the hearing without making a final decision. Remember, follow us on YouTube, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. The time is now 6:37 on our Friday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up next on 25 News Now Sunrise. An update on an unexpected discovery made by a family visiting the beach.
This morning, families brace for rising prices from President Trump's sweeping new tariffs. I'm Nicole D'Antonio in Washington with details and the potential impact.
And also coming up next after the break in the short-term forecast, like I said earlier, it's going to be a windy and warm day all across Texas before the front gets you tomorrow. We're going to be going from hot to chilly. So coming up next, I'll tell you just how hot and chilly I think it'll be near you.
Here's a look at what you can expect on Community Crossroads. We hear from a VISD board candidate, the City of Victoria. We learn about electric vehicles and car seat safety.
On proper car seat usage, and so the goal is to help educate to ensure the safety of those children. So we will have members from the City of Victoria Municipal Court there, we will have Victoria police officers there and other technicians in the community coming out to this event to help ensure those traveling safely.
Well, good morning, Crossroads, and happy Friday. If you're tuning in with us this morning, we are starting out the day at a warm, humid, and breezy 77 degrees in Cuero right now. 73 dew point is bringing us the high 86% humidity, but like I said earlier, don't worry about fog this morning because we do have a little bit of a breeze blowing through. Looks like it's calmed down a little bit in our northwestern counties this morning, but I promise y'all it is going to pick up as we go into the afternoon time, and here is that. Here are your future wind gusts. Going into the later morning hours, they're going to be still gusting up to about 30, maybe 35 miles an hour at times in the morning, but they're going to pick up more. As we go into the afternoon time, we'll be looking for gusts today as high as 40 to 45 miles an hour. So if you have any lightweight, kind of loose items outside, that could be an umbrella, maybe some hanging basket plants, or maybe even some lightweight seeded plants like I have, make sure you take that inside, or at least protect it over the next 48 hours, because it's going to be breezy. All the way through tonight, you can see overnight tonight gusts still up to 30 to 35 miles an hour. And then tomorrow, the winds, they're no longer out of the south. They're shifting, coming out of the north, and still gusting up about 20 at times, so a little bit less breezy, that's for sure. But that's because a front is coming tomorrow, like I've been saying all morning. We'll look at that here in a second, because here are your afternoon temperatures. Already at noontime, going to feel like, this is the actual air temperature. It's going to be low and mid 80s at noontime, but in the afternoon, we're looking for high temperatures, generally in the upper mid 80s today. But heated to seas, that's the interesting part. They're going to be dropping, for heated seas to wind chills to the low 40s and upper 30s Sunday morning once that front comes through. So get ready for that. We'll look at that coming up next.
Good morning, Crossroads. And Edna ISD is bringing back a familiar face to the Crossroads area as they hired their new head football coach in Jamie Dixon. Dixon used to coach here in the Crossroads with Industrial from 2019 to 2021, led the Cobras to 3 11-win seasons before heading to Blanco High School near the Austin-San Antonio area. Dixon replaces legendary head coach Jimmy Mitchell, who was reassigned from the school district last week. And Dixon will bring winning culture to Edna after taking Blanco to regional semifinals in 2022 and the regional finals in 2023. So wish him luck at Edna and the next level. This is Max Williams, 25 News Now Sports.
This morning, the U.S. stock market is in a free fall after the president's announcement of sweeping tariffs. President Trump and his team continue to brush off concerns as J.P. Morgan now says there is a 60% chance of a recession. And breaking this morning, China has announced retaliatory tariffs of 34% set to take place or set to go into effect on April 10th.
More tariffs could be on the way. President Trump telling reporters on Air Force One they're preparing to take more action on global trade, including imported semiconductors and pharmaceuticals.
Does that mean chips and pharma tariffs are not on the table?
Starting very soon.
The president's comments come as the stock market tanks, losing more than $3 trillion in value Thursday. Some of the nation's largest companies taking a hit, along with millions of Americans' 401ks. President Trump brushing off concerns.
I think it's going very well.
Claiming those taxes on imported products will bring manufacturing back to the U.S. But economists warn it's going to cost everyone more. Analysts saying these new tariffs could cost an average American family of 4 up to $7,200 a year.
That tax has to be borne by somebody, and history suggests that it's going to be the American consumer.
This appliance store in Norwood, Massachusetts, now trying to navigate the additional cost.
If there are increases in price, they'll see if the manufacturer can absorb some of them too. Really just to keep the cost down for the consumer.
But other business owners say they'll have no choice but to pass the cost on to consumers.
If you had to absorb more of the tariff and not pass it on to consumers, could you stay in business?
No, I will get out of business. There is no way I can absorb this kind of cost.
The president also laying out a timetable saying it could take several years to bring manufacturing back to the U.S., but he did not explain what would happen to alleviate the pain of higher prices in the interim. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
And that leads us to your viewer poll. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen to take part. We want to know, do you think the president will announce more tariffs? All right, let's take a look. 92% of you say yes, and 8% of you say no. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part in our viewer poll. Yesterday, we told you about a Victoria family who took a walk on the beach as Daniel Weinheimer and his family were enjoying a regular day at Padre Island National Seashore, where they often go to help clean up and pick up trash. Their good deed took a surprising turn. 11-year-old Daniel Weinheimer was walking the family's 2 German Shepherds when the dogs picked up on something buried in the sand. Daniel uncovered a package, something he didn't recognize. What he didn't know at the time was the family had stumbled upon several bricks of cocaine. Today we hear from Daniel and his mom.
It's an area for education, and as much as we want to protect our kids, part of that is educating them and just talking about the dangers in the world so they know if they see something like this, they bring it to you. And I'm very proud that Daniel did that.
I would say that if you find something like this, say something to a parent or adult or anyone who's in charge that might know more about it.
The family says they're thankful no one was hurt, and more importantly, they hope their story reminds others to stay aware. The annual White House tradition of rolling Easter eggs across the South Lawn is expected to proceed this year despite concerns over egg prices and strain on supply in recent months due to avian flu. The president said Wednesday in remarks announcing his new tariffs, they were saying that for Easter, please don't use eggs. Could you use plastic eggs? The president went on to say, I don't want to do that, or I say we don't want to do that. The Easter egg roll will feature 30,000 eggs for White House guests to decorate and use in games. That's according to the American Egg Board. The time is now 6:46 on our Friday morning. Still to come on Sunrise, we take a look at the measles vaccination rates. All right, it's time to celebrate some birthdays. Happy birthday to Brenda. Happy birthday, Brenda. Love and hugs to you on your special day. Happy birthday, Mom. We love you. Love from your children and grandchildren.
Oh, happy birthday, Brenda. And also happy birthday to Tommy. Happy birthday to my Blue Eyes grandson.
Happy birthday to Jaden. Happy 12th birthday. Mom and Dad love you.
Happy birthday, Jaden. And also happy birthday to Robert Downey Jr., or Iron Man for short. He's soon also become Dr. Doom, and he's turning 60 today. Happy birthday, Robert Downey. And to see your birthday wish live on 25 News Now, Sunrise, just head on over to crossroadstoday.com, click the drop-down menu, then click the Home tab, and then you'll see Submit Your Birthday Photo.
All right, and I want to wish Ray Robinson a special happy birthday, and happy birthday to Marco. Marco, you know who you are.
Happy birthday, Marco, and happy birthday if you're celebrating with us today or this weekend. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I'm 25 News Now Sports Director Max Williams. I'm hitting the road to San Antonio for the Mets Final Four. This is where legends are made. Buzzer beaters, the Cinderella stories, and moments we'll be talking about for years. I'll be courtside, in the locker rooms, and behind the scenes for exclusive access. It's the Final Four. It doesn't get any bigger than this. Let's go!
Stay locked in right here on 25 News Now. Also available anytime on the Crossroads Today Plus app.
Well, good morning, Crossroads. I'm sure a lot of y'all saw that 7-day forecast a few moments ago, and you saw a couple things coming our way really over the next 24 hours, actually. We've got number one, a cold front, and we have number two, a second shot of rain. That's going to be tomorrow when the front passes through. And all that leads me to today's weather poll. Today I asked you, would you rather it be a windy or rainy day? And look at that. We're at the top of the 6:30 hour. We are right down the middle. Half and half are voting rainy. You don't like the wind. And the other half are voting you love both. Bring it on. Well, I've got some good news for y'all that voted that. Continue voting and on future weather polls by going to crossroadstoday.com/vote-weather to participate, and I will always read those answers on Sunrise. But why is it good? Why am I talking about good news? Because we got both of those coming away over the next 24 hours. As you can see here, this is your Texas Future Tracker here, the High Resolution Rapid Refresh Model, or HRRR for short in the weather world, that is showing you this monstrous, humongous upper level low pressure system that we've been talking about all week long that is actually just now starting to slowly move off of the Rocky Mountains and into western Texas. You can see it right there as it spins counterclockwise into West Texas, going into late tonight and into tomorrow morning. Now, when that happens, it is going to send a cold front through the state, passing us at around late morning time into the early afternoon, but it will also send a line of showers and thunderstorms right along the edge of that frontal boundary, some of which could be severe. Now, here is the severe weather risk for today, Friday. You can see we're not under that bubble. That's all the way up in Arkansas, actually, where they have a monstrous level 4 out of 5 risk. So if you have any family over there, let them know. They've got some serious weather coming their way real soon today. But in Texas, you can see if we zoom over us, only a slight level 2 out of 5 risk extends into central Texas, but that extends into our area tomorrow. Here's Saturday. You can see the enhanced risk is going to be mainly over Louisiana and western Mississippi, but here at the Crossroads, we have in our eastern counties a level 2 out of 5 yellow slight risk right here. And those counties, and then our central counties, are under that level 1 out of 5 marginal risk for severe weather. And here are the main severe threats that y'all can expect for tomorrow, if any thunderstorms do develop. Heavy rain obviously going to be the main concern, but large hail, pocket change in size, also a threat. Damaging winds gusting up to 60 miles an hour, also possible, and tornadoes, very low but not impossible. But we'll look at all of that and more later on Sunrise.
The measles vaccination rate in the U.S. may be even lower than estimated. A new report from the healthcare data and analytics company Truveta finds nearly a third of young children did not get their first shot on schedule. In 2024, just 68.5% of children had received their first dose by the recommended age of 15 months. That's a drop from 77% in 2020. Only 80% of children had received 2 doses of the vaccine by the time they turned 6. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services says at least 95% of children in kindergarten need to have 2 doses of the vaccine to prevent outbreaks. Gas prices rose again this past week, and it was a bigger jump than the previous week. AAA says gasoline jumped by more than 10 cents to a nationwide average of $3.26 a gallon. It says refinery maintenance and the switch to a summer blend are among the factors driving the increase. AAA says it's consistent with seasonal shifts. In Texas, the average cost for gas is $2.87 a gallon, and here in Victoria, the average is $2.69 a gallon. Still to come on Sunrise, news to know before you go. 3 people were hit by a train. We have the details.
Get ready for the madness. Think you know college hoops? Prove it. Enter the Final Four Frenzy presented by Coastal Bend College. Put your bracket up against sports director Max Williams and weekend sports reporter Ray Robinson. Dribble on over to crossroadstoday.com to enter on the contest page. Win it all and score a family 4-pack with a hotel stay and a round of golf for 2 at Moody Gardens in Galveston. The Final Four Frenzy presented by Coastal Bend College. Brackets lock soon. Enter now.
Three people are dead after being struck by an Amtrak train in Bucks County, Pennsylvania Thursday. Pennsylvania Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick says the train was traveling from Boston to Richmond, Virginia at the time of the incident. No injuries were reported among the 236 passengers or crew on board the train. The incident is under investigation. South Korea's highest court has removed embattled President Yoon from office, ending months of uncertainty and legal wrangling after he briefly declared martial law in December and plunged the nation into political turmoil. The court's decision on Friday marks Yoon's formal dismissal from the presidency after Parliament voted to impeach him in December. Yoon was arrested in January on charges of leading an insurrection. The Senate on Thursday voted to begin debate on the GOP's budget blueprint. In addition to increasing the debt limit, the Republican measure includes money for immigration enforcement, an overhaul of the tax code, steep spending cuts, and more energy drilling. Democrats are expected to push Republicans through several amendment votes. Both chambers must pass the budget blueprint before the legislation can advance. And we want to invite y'all to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV, on your Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, or Android TV. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus. And now let's get a final look at our forecast with Parker. Parker, we've got maybe a pink sunrise, pinkish?
Yeah, it's kind of pinky. If you look real hard, technically there is a little bit of a pink hue that's embedded in our sky, but this morning, that's not really the main concern. What our main concern is, it is very humid, it is very warm, it is very breezy out there, and it is plenty cloudy as well. Starting out the day at 78 in Port Lavaca. That is something y'all want to see in the mid-summer time. But your dew point, also midsummer time, that's the dew point, 76 degrees. That is a lot of water vapor that can be held in the atmosphere this morning. So maybe apply some hairspray if you're headed out the door. Otherwise, we're all starting out the day at about the same thing, some even in the upper 70s this morning. And with a warm morning temperature, that means it's going to be another warm day. Also humid as well, with heat indices up to 95 to 99 today. I don't think we're going to hit 100, but with all that in mind, make sure that y'all are going to be careful and safe. Drink lots of water, stay hydrated, but also fishers and boaters, be careful because we're looking for gusts up to 30, maybe 35 knots at times on the coast. That's going to bring us a small craft advisory in effect all the way up until tomorrow Saturday morning. But in the background, like I said, heat will be up. 85 for the high today in Port Lavaca. Underneath the mostly cloudy skies, a little bit less clouds, I'm thinking in Victoria by the afternoon. 86 for the high, and warmer than that in Cuero, I'm thinking 87 for today. But if you're not a fan of that, like I said, we got a front coming tomorrow. Dropping heat indices down into the wind chills, low 40s and upper 30s. So make sure that y'all get ready for that. It's going to be a bit chilly for the next several mornings before we warm up for the latter half of next week.
All right, thank you, Parker, and thank you all for being with us. Join Shana, Don, Maclovio, and Max today for 25 News Now at 5, 6, and 10. Continue to learn all the latest updates on the tariffs on Good Morning America.